We said on the last episode that was the last episode of 2020.
We lied. Well,
we're technically lying. We're recording this on December 31st.
Yes.
You're probably seeing it on January 1, maybe a little bit after. But Brad came through.
well, a little late. A little late.
A little late.
But he
for
did
our
send us a
liking.
little apology email. So
A
that
very
was nice.
It wasn't really an apology, but it was a very nice email.
It was sort of like, thank you
Yeah.
for, holding me true.
And we appreciate you, Brad. We appreciate everything that Inman provides to the real estate community every single year. And we're looking forward to reviewing your predictions. So he gave us a sneak peek on the email. You did look through them a little bit.
Quickly, we were out, so when we had company, so I didn't really dig deep into them. So we're actually going to be going through these predictions together, like
In real time.
real time.
I skimmed briefly, but I have not read through them. We're going to give you the
It's interesting because
off-the-cuff reactions.
in his Facebook post, he wrote 19 predictions, but here we now have 21. So he must have added a couple on there.
he added a couple.
21 for 21.
Yeah, we'll link it up, obviously, so you can read through Brad Inman's 21 predictions for 21. If you missed it, I think it was 2 episodes ago, we reviewed or recapped which ones he got right and wrong for 2020. Go check that out. But here we go.
Ready?
Off the cuff reactions. A little bit of a different real word. Special. We usually don't do 2 in 1 week, but
No, we don't.
Special occasion. No rackets. We're just focusing on Brad Inman's predictions. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, number 1. Drum roll, please.
You can do that, Sam, right?
Somebody can do that. Number 1, Keller Williams will launch a new program to recruit realtors, doubling down on agent growth. I believe they've been losing agents, like their agent growth, like how Connecticut has lost migration over the years, except maybe 2020 is going to be different. I'm looking forward to those stats here locally. But I believe their outbound migration of agents has been greater than their inbound.
I don't know the answer to that, but I will say that locally I feel like, yes, I'm dealing with fewer and fewer Keller Williams agents.
Brad says KW will stop overplaying its technology hand, coming to grips with the fact that its biggest competitors are not tech firms, but fast-growing brokerages like ESP, Compass, and Redfin.
Agreed.
EXP has certainly taken a ton of KW agents because they are kind of similar in the way that their value prop.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Why not?
I feel like, no.
That'll come true.
I mean, why not? But I do feel like, obviously, after 2020, companies that are probably on the decline or are having a difficulty with retention, if they're not sort of bobbing and weaving in 2021, it's a failure.
Yeah, I've said for a long time, if these companies are going to try to compete with Zillow, you're so far behind and you have such a massive catch-up. Unless you're going to do something very new and innovative, that war is over. So this probably makes a lot of sense. Get away from being the tech company and just going and getting agents makes sense. So whether that actually works for them, will they launch a new program? And that's Brad's prediction? Yeah, I would agree, Brad. They're going to launch a new program. Whether it works remains to be seen. All right, we got 20 left here.
Let's do it.
Here we go. You just gave blood too, so.
I did give blood.
You got energy for this?
I got tons of energy.
All right, good. Number 2, the International Outer Space Treaty of 1967 will be amended so people can acquire land on the moon and Mars.
Yep. Okay, so number 3.
Hey, has anybody, by the way, do you have Disney Plus?
I do.
Go on to the National Geographic section. Over the holiday weekend, I was just flipping through National Geographic. I'm like, what's on here for me? For a guy like me, what would be on here? And there was this show, Cosmos. Have you heard of this?
I have not.
Sam's shaking his head. Oh, he's heard of it. I mean, it is fascinating. They're talking about us finding our next home when Earth no longer exists. I think we got a couple billion years is what the guy was saying. A couple billion years on Earth. Apparently. I don't know how true that is. But yeah, it was really fascinating to see, like the planets in our galaxy are not an option.
Right.
is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Through the Cosmos. I don't know. If you've seen the Cosmos, in the comments.
There's a new George Clooney movie out too that my husband and I just watched last night too. I'm not remembering the name.
Has to do with planets or something totally?
It does. I mean, there are these astronauts out in space because they just come from one of Mars's moons where it's livable, and on their trip back to Earth is like pretty much on fire. Like there's no returning to Earth.
Yeah.
So these astronauts are now having to actually go back to this moon and start a new life.
I'm very interested in the space stuff. I think it's, I don't know. It's, you really are like, wow. When you watch this Cosmo, I watched like the first 2 episodes and I'm like, I can't allow myself to get hooked because I'll be like, there's like all these seasons and episodes. I'll be like watching it for the rest of my life, I feel like. But
maybe.
I'm like, oh my gosh, how lucky, 2020 was kind of a rough year for a lot of people, but how lucky are we that we're not a, what is the thing? Neanderthal? What is it? What do they call those people? What is it?
Yeah.
Neanderthal. Like, how lucky are we not to be whatever the heck that is? Those people didn't look like they had the greatest
life.
That's an
interesting one.
Interest rates, number 3, will remain depressed, keeping the housing market hot through the remainder of next year. Consequently, publicly traded real estate company valuations will continue to rise. This is a no-brainer.
Okay.
This is just like obvious, right?
True. Number 4.
Creating more real estate billionaires. Duh. Yep, you're right on that one. That's not really a prediction. I just think that's a trend line.
He was trying to come up with 21.
Number 4, the Zillowization of real estate branding has devalued big franchise brands. Talked about this a little bit because that was his sneak peek. Yeah. So we already knew this one.
We do agree with that one. That one will be a fun one.
Realogy will roll out flexible brands. I think they're a little bit, they should have done this 5 years ago. It would have been super innovative. Now it's like something they have to do to actually stay relevant. I would agree with this, Brad. After testing its successful powered by ERA. Yeah, huh? I mean, anyway. The new franchise model will emphasize services, tech tools, and expansion financing, allowing an affiliate to tout its local company name absent the franchise brand tag. So you don't have to be, whatever at Sotheby's or Cole or whatever. Yeah. I think this makes a lot of sense. I'll go with that. Number 5, by the end of Q1 of 21, Compass will go public via a special purpose acquisition company SPAC. It will, its stock will spike, but then settle down. The company will rake in a horde of fresh capital to grow market share and expand growth. Its stock will spike and then settle down back to the IPO. He doesn't really say that. I'm predicting it's going to go lower than the IPO. Whatever the IPO is at, it's going to fall lower than. They're gearing up for this IPO, so it's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. The day-old question, where do I live, will enter a new dimension this coming year. The freedom to work anywhere will dissolve state, regional, and global boundaries as we know them. That is interesting.
Maybe he's been watching that show too.
Yeah, maybe. Well, he's looking to go to Mars. That must have been one of his throw-in predictions. I don't know where he got. Undoing centuries of rigid home work to work patterns, community identities, family connections, and transportation networks will be reshaped. You know what? I'm not buying this one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You don't think it's already started in 2020?
I do, but I think
it'll slow down.
I think it's going to slow down,
of course,
more than speed up, and I don't think the exodus from the cities is going to be as severe as it was in 2020.
I don't even think that he's meaning cities here.
Yeah.
I think he's just meaning anywhere. So we don't live in a city.
Well, the state, regional, global boundaries,
right.
I get that.
So I don't have to be in Connecticut to do my job. That's a Connecticut-based company. Right. So I don't even think that he's talking necessarily about cities here. I think he's just talking about in general. I mean, you could even live in Europe if you decide that you want to live, you live in Europe, even if your job is based in Connecticut. I'm just saying that's what he's predicting is that.
Yep, and I agree that
the flexibility
that's where
there.
He's going. I would say that I agree, and this speaks to Zillow talking about there's going to be a lot of movement. People moving to different parts of the country, that it's like, oh, it's more desirable for me to live in the southeast part of the country as opposed to maybe the northeast, right? Those types of things. I think that's going to happen. But when I do think about how much freedom to work anywhere, I think that's happened. And I think there will be some companies that start to, in the second half of 21, as we get herd immunity, hopefully, start to pull back on that a little bit.
Okay.
I think there'll be a little bit of a pullback by the end of next year on people working from absolutely wherever the heck they want.
Yeah. Okay.
Number 7, Florida, Texas, and Nevada will be the biggest beneficiaries of the great geographic reshuffling. Yeah, this is absolutely going to be the easiest layup of a prediction.
But I think they already have been.
But it's going to happen more.
I hear you.
You've got big, huge companies right now leaving Silicon Valley in California and going to Miami, whatever that county is over there in Florida. Dade County, going specifically to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton. You are seeing huge companies you never thought would leave and going across the country to Southeast Florida. Incredible trends. Obviously, the trends of Texas. Elon Musk taking Tesla over to Texas. We've seen Joe Rogan. We've seen so many people bail out of California. Nevada's an easy transition for a lot of people. Go over to Vegas because then you can still like keep your residential house in California and just do the weekend thing. So Nevada's getting the benefit of that. But yeah, California's toast. New York is toast. These 3 states, they're up for a huge boom. Even though that's been the trend, it's going to get accelerated in 21. People are seeking these lower cost areas, no state income tax, locations where in some cases they're like-minded political tribes live. Okay. Regional economic power centers like New York and California. So speaking to what we just said, will lose their clout to a distributed workforce and low tax rates. Yeah. No brainer. Number 8. One of the richest men in residential real estate with an estimated net worth of $1.6 billion, EXP founder Glenn Sanford will announce a new personal initiative, maybe around virtual medical services. Glenn Sanford, worth now $1.6 billion. His what do they call that? The downstream? The downline, not the downstream. It's the downline. You know, he's got the biggest downline because he's got all those EXP people on his downline. That's not good. That's not good for the podcast. Sorry, guys. I think I'm calling no on this. I don't think Glenn Sanford has any business getting into virtual medical services, and I think if he does, he'll cut his net worth in half. He'll lose a whole bunch of money. It's just my prediction. Okay. He's making predictions.
He's making a prediction. I don't know. I feel like lots of people are going to get into medical services.
Well, probably.
Especially now that it's all virtual. I mean, why wouldn't you? There's like the most money in medical. But
there's all kinds of people. I mean, Bill Gates.
I don't know why it would necessarily
Bill Gates is in it, and he's a billionaire, so why can't every billionaire do it? Number 9, Berkshire Hathaway will do what it did this year, make no hyperbolic announcements, create no drama, execute well, and make money. So he's predicting a boring year similar to what they did this year for Berkshire Hathaway. Makes sense. Their leader is Warren Buffett. Just keep grinding it out. Sweat equity, baby. Grind it out. Look at that. I got to reference the
You
tea.
did. You were waiting.
Love this tea.
You were waiting.
Little Warren Buffett reference on the sweat equity. Yeah, I would agree. I think they're, I don't want to say a boring company, but plodding along. They've got great, listen, Gino Belfari, one of the best executives in all of real estate, heading the ship there. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Number 10, Zillow will flirt with moving even further upstream in the transaction. This is a no-brainer too. Of course, I don't think they're going to flirt. I mean, I think they're going to go to second or third base on this, right?
Well, keep reading.
In the transaction, the company will put its toe in home building market, acquiring or partnering with a modular housing manufacturer. Zillow Homes, for real, like buying the Zillow house.
Yeah, or maybe they'll get into like the 3D printing. I've been reading a lot about the 3D printing and how it keeps actually building costs like wildly low.
Huh.
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, there's a whole article that like to be able to like print out like wood like that, so you're not cutting down trees, and like so it's you can reuse sawdust,
save the
like
trees,
the dust that's like been cut. Yeah. So it's actually saving a ton of money.
A recycled Zillow home.
Yeah, and it's much cheaper, and they can actually happen much quicker, especially because of all the delays now with the pandemic and all. So yeah, it's all very interesting.
I think modular homes, there's nothing wrong with modular homes, folks.
No.
A lot of them are built indoors, and like for us in the Northeast, or on a stick-built house that's living through the elements, they can probably even make more sense. For Zillow to do this, where are you doing that? Where's the land? Are you doing it in a place like South Florida? Where
Well,
there's still
it'll be
land to
interesting
expand
though
on
about
the west
financing
side?
though, because I do think that modular homes sometimes have a difficult time being financed. I think I've heard that. But anyway, because it's a question.
Once it's already up though.
Yeah.
Up, so they finance it. They sell it as a new construction.
I know.
With a Zillow agent. Oh my gosh.
Well, and Zillow financing.
Yeah, and Zillow everything.
I mean, why not?
Zillow pots and pans when you move in.
I mean, let's do it right.
Zillow refrigerators. All right, number 11. As public and private debt grows, inflation will raise its ugly head. It will add fever to the housing market, as houses offer a cost of living hedge, but higher prices for goods and services will put a pinch on consumer budgets and housing affordability will worsen. Did this one go over your head like it went over mine?
No. So what he's saying...
As public and private debt grows,
Yes.
Inflation will raise its ugly head.
So even though it's inexpensive to purchase a home, to maintain a home will go up.
Well, the prices for goods and services, definitely for cost of materials are going up. Goods and I don't know about when he's saying goods and services. I don't know that we're going to see inflation in everyday consumer goods and services. I would say that is a no. That's a racket. The cost of housing and housing materials, which he doesn't say that here, are going to go up in 21. I don't know if that's the inflation he's talking about. Cost of living hedge. I don't think our cost of living consumer goods. I don't see inflation happening there in 2021. I know there are some economists that would disagree with that, but there are more that would agree we're not seeing that type of inflation in 21. All right. Number 12. But his overall point is housing affordability will worsen, and that I agree with.
Yes.
Okay. The godfather of realtor office innovation 47 years ago, RE/MAX seems primed to do something bold. My guess, it will launch a national virtual brokerage to compete with EXP. It could partner with WeWork for agent community building and offer teams discounted access. The initiative could be a breakout success. I'm saying no, that's not going to happen.
No.
It's a virtual brokerage. People aren't going to EXP for the virtual brokerage. They're just not going there for it. They're going there because they now want to stop selling real estate and they want to build their little pyramid, their little
pyramid scheme.
It's not a pyramid scheme. They want to build their little, downline. So they want to recruit. Recruiters are going to EXP. Number 13, in a media merger, the Texas-based, I feel like I've been a little hard on EXP here. Am I going to get a bunch of EXP hate in the comments?
I don't know that you're being hard on them.
I love my EXP people, by the way.
I don't know that you're being hard on them.
All right. Number 13, in a media merger, the Texas-based Housing Wire will acquire, which they just made an acquisition a couple episodes ago. We talked about that. Will acquire the New York-based Real Deal.
I feel like we talked about that. Didn't we talk about the Real
Brad,
Deal?
why don't you go buy Real Deal?
Right.
I guess we know who's not a buyer for the Real Deal because he's predicting Housing Wire will buy the Real Deal. Interesting. I would say they've only got two buyers, Housing Wire or, well, maybe not. Maybe Zillow would buy them. That's my prediction. Zillow buys the Real Deal. Number 14, HUD will be pushed to increase the penalties for federal fair housing violations. Currently, they stand at $21,400 for the first incident and $53,000 for the next 53 plus for the next transgression that occurs within 5 years of the first violation. They are adjusted annually for inflation, but deserve an overall re-examination. So they're going to be pushed.
I don't feel like I know enough about the what
fair housing
penalties,
is obviously
violations.
Kind of in the limelight in 2020 with some of the things we've been talking about as a society. I would say this, what should be in the limelight is because this came out in that Long Island study, that it's very difficult for an agent to actually be proven that they violated a Fair Housing Act.
Right.
So never mind the fees, how can you make sure the policing is actually happening in the real estate community more so than increasing the fees?
Well,
I didn't even know what the fees were.
Yeah, I didn't know what the fees were either. It was probably on our test when we took it. But I do think that NAR, though, is taking I think they're doing a lot of things coming into the new year to change. So I guess I wouldn't be surprised if that was a counterpart to it, because I do think that money sort of drives people. So
I'd agree that HUD is going to be pushed to do something in fair housing, because everything in that direction is certainly getting more pressure.
Absolutely.
Number 15, coming soon listings will become a relic of the last decade. Transparency, open markets, and full disclosure will win in the end. Love the thought of that. I think in a market where inventory is short, coming soon listings are here to stay in 21. So I think you're wrong, Brad. Sorry. But I like where he's going. I agree. Yeah, I think open markets, full disclosure wins in the end, but the end isn't 21. So
maybe by the end. Maybe by the end of 2021.
No. Number 16, company acquisitions will rock the industry. Everybody is talking to everyone about every deal imaginable. In the big deal category, I could see CoStar acquiring LendingTree or Zillow gobbling up Opendoor. More likely are Black Knight, Lone Wolf, and Constellation buying up more software companies for entrepreneurs. You don't want to be the last founder standing when the M&A window closes. Absolutely. If you're a tech founder, for sure, you want to find a buyer here in the next year because there's going to be a lot of money moving around. CoStar acquiring LendingTree. If CoStar keeps making these residential acquisitions, watch out. Mm-hmm. Watch out. They got a bigger market cap than Zillow. Zillow gobbling up Opendoor makes a lot of sense to me because I don't know outside of Opendoor's one thing of like buying homes, like what else are they going to start to innovate other products? Because they'd have to for me, for them to get profitability long term. So Zillow gobbling them up and them kind of just falling under that umbrella makes a lot of sense. I'd agree with that acquisition, actually. Mm-hmm. Number 17, nursing homes will die. Post-pandemic, the senior housing market will undergo a radical transformation. As congregate care goes out of style, seniors will find alternatives, including staying put as new technology facilities facilitate safer and better in-home care. What do you think on that?
I would not be surprised if something happened. I mean, think about all the individuals in nursing homes right now that are dying. You know, I mean, I think 99.9% of the individuals that are in nursing homes would prefer to be home. I think most of the times they're put in there because their families can no longer take care of them. But again, if there's going to be some alternative to being able to stay home, maybe, but I don't think they're going away. There's no way. I mean, I don't.
Well, what are they going to go away to? I mean,
well, he's saying that everyone will just stay home.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think nursing homes works for a reason because people don't necessarily want their old parents living at their house.
Right. But I think what he's saying is that there could be some additional in-home care, but obviously it's much more expensive to have one person watching one person instead of one person, sort of in charge of five.
In California, the big thing now is, if you have a single family home, you can put this auxiliary, I forget what they're calling it, the auxiliary unit in the backyard. I think it's ADU, auxiliary unit. Anyways, you can put a little small unit in the backyard, like a pool house, whatever. Okay. Yeah. Right? Let's call it that. It might be called ADU. In the comments, help me out with that one. Maybe that becomes the trend where it's like, hey, here we have some weird zoning things. Really in this town, you can put those little second homes in the backyard in some places, but not everywhere. Not everywhere in the Northeast can you easily do that. But can you say, hey, can I put I'm going to go with ADU. I think it's ADU in my backyard for the senior housing so that I can have it separate from my house, build a little, loft
so your mom and the nurse are living in your backyard?
In the backyard. Mom, again, backyard.
Yeah, I don't know how affordable that is. Yeah, no, that's really going to be.
Well, and that's the point where the nursing homes were more affordable than a fancy, like we've got some of these fancy 62 and over communities, which are gorgeous, bars and pools and like those are beautiful places to live. But you got your own apartment, door.
I do think that the nursing home setup probably needs to be maybe manipulated a little bit more. Just again, especially we're learning that mostly during a pandemic. I mean,
and remember, these are Brad Inman's predictions for 2021.
I just can't imagine that they're going to die.
I don't see this happening in 2021. No. I think there's room for disruption, like every industry, as new technologies facilitate safer and better. Technology doesn't wipe somebody's ass, right? I mean, that's what's happening in these nursing homes, right? There's that kind of level of physical care happening.
Lifting people out of their seats.
Yeah, and technology.
Taking them to the bathroom.
I'm sorry. There's some things that technology just does not facilitate.
Right.
Unless it's a robot. Maybe I'm wrong, okay? Maybe the robot. the whole bathroom
No,
help.
I still would you put a robot in charge of your mom?
Ma, watch out.
Uh-oh.
Meet Larry the robot.
What was her name? Jane from the Jetsons?
Meet Jane.
Jane?
Jane, this is Ma.
Was it Jane? What was her name? No, the mom was Jane. Was the mom Jane?
I'll be back once a month.
Who was the robot?
I don't know. Jane, maybe.
No, I
We'll
thought
go
Jane.
with Jane.
No, Jane. Jane is the mom.
All right. I don't think
Anyway.
anything dramatic is happening in 2021. So we'll look back
Insurance
on it in a year.
premiums. He talked about insurance premiums last year.
Yeah, and
He's doing it again.
so they'll spike because of climate disasters. And the
He said the
National
same thing last
Association. Yeah, I
year.
know. We'll get behind it. I mean, I don't know. What are you doubling down on this now? It's going to happen if I keep saying it every year. It'll
Well,
happen.
it'll actually
I mean, I
happen.
agree. It's insurance premiums are going to go nowhere but up. So I would agree. But NAR will get behind a federal effort to protect consumers from price gouging. Maybe. Hopefully. Homebuyers will become more risk adverse about where and what they buy. I don't know. People are flooding South Florida, and they've been calling for, the end of South Florida for years, and people continue to go down there. So I don't know about that. They will begin to expect their agents to have answers about the local impacts from climate change. I guess. I don't know. I watched the Cosmos, and the guy said we got couple billion years left on planet
Well,
Earth.
that doesn't mean that you completely just neglect the Earth.
No, I'm just saying. I don't think people in 2021, these are 2021 predictions, are going to be buying based off of climate change, except for maybe a small portion of people that are obsessed with climate change.
I mean, but again, if you're talking about a coastal state,
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be considerate of that.
Have you seen our waterfront homeowners trying to sell and move? I saw it right after Superstorm Sandy.
Yeah.
So if we see another major storm in 21, are you projecting a huge waterfront storm?
Well, there's also some waterfronts in California though, they're literally they're falling into the water.
People are leaving California more because of other reasons than the fires.
And I'm not even talking about a fire though, but
right.
yes. Okay.
Okay, I don't know. I don't think people are going to be in large percentages buying based off of climate change. My prediction for 2021.
I feel
Long
like
term,
maybe we should just have Byron's predictions.
Well, they're coming soon. Number 19. Real estate industry lawsuits will proliferate, and some will be resolved with staggering financial settlements. The litigation will spawn a new age of consumer transparency when the public gets access to all of the local MLS data fields. The DOJ will not retreat from its legal fight with NAR, though the Biden administration will be more conciliatory because of the powerful trade groups and political influence. I don't know. I hope he's right that some of these lawsuits will be settled and the ones that NAR and the big brokerages are involved with. And I think someone will get dragged out. I don't know. I don't know what the clear prediction is on this one.
Mm-mm.
Some will, will get resolved. Okay, sure. I agree. Number 20, smart, focused, and hardworking realtors will prosper next year.
So this was number 20. What's
number
20?
20.
21 must be even more gem.
Smart, focused, and hardworking realtors will prosper.
No, number 21. And then what's number
Every
21?
year. Number 21, 2021 will be boring compared to 2020. No one will complain. That's the biggest racket of all time, folks. Complaining is always going to be here to stay
Oh my gosh.
until we go to planet whatever the Cosmos find us.
I don't think it'll stop there either.
On planet Earth, complaining is always going to be here. So, Brad, unfortunately, 21, you're going to be wrong on that one. Brad, thank you. Brad, thanks everyone at the end for...
These are some things to gobble on. I mean, now, because again, we read these live, so there are some things that we'll have to chew on in there and really sort of get to the bottom of. Oh, there's some comments.
There's some comments. We're going to link this up.
We always enjoy hearing from you, though, Brad.
Always, and really appreciate what you're doing to provide information and value to our industry, the real estate industry.